Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Origi provides the answers again. What is it with this guy? 6 in 10. Lots to talk about here. Very, very bad day when it comes to the Premier League table for Everton right now. Burnley securing that victory today against Wolves. Everton now drop into the bottom three. It's still in their hands. It is still in their hands. We'll talk about the relegation fight very, very soon. But let's concentrate with this game first. 2-0 victory. Let's have a look at the stats, because I think I was just listening to Graham Souness and Carragher, and they were going big on this 17% possession that Everton had. But I actually think they got the game plan right here. 17% isn't great. But I think what keeps getting forgotten here is 9 shots. The game plan was decent. You know, this is a very, very strong Liverpool side. It's not a strong Everton side, sorry. Just to be clear. And going into it, you've got a team that's lost 10 of the last 11 at home. So the fact that these little sort of, I don't know, little sneaky jibes from Carragher a little bit, but then when it comes to the big calls, kind of suggesting otherwise, and Souness in particular, kind of going, oh, it didn't come to play a game. I don't think that's fair, because I think the game plan was to stop Liverpool. But when you play like that, and Liverpool is so good on the ball, you've got to defend well, you've got to be organised, but you've also got to snap into a couple of tackles. That certainly happened. And I actually thought Everton were brilliant for the first half, and actually for the first 60 minutes of the game plan was working really, really well. They're offering something down the other end at times, on the break. A couple of names I've got written down here in my notes. I've got Origi, I've got Richarlison, I've got Iwobi, I've got Anthony Gordon. Let's talk about all of those guys. And maybe we're chucking Andy Robertson as well. Relegation I've written down here, question mark. And title challenge, question mark. All will be discussed. Let's start off with the main man from the game, the man who provided the answers, and talk about Liverpool. Because Origi, this, as much as it's about Origi here now, 6 in 10. 6 in 10 against Everton. He has this magical knack, and I'm fascinated to see him go to another club just to find out, like, who is this guy? Like, how good is he? Because, of course, he's possibly, I mean, we just don't know, do we? Is he a middling Premier League striker? You know, is he any better than, I'm trying to think, Danny Ings? I know these are Liverpool players. The other one I was thinking of, Benteke. Is he any better than those guys? One thing is for sure, he has a magic about him in terms of scoring big goals in big games. And that is something that will have him down as a legend for Liverpool for the end of time. He will be defined by his time at Liverpool, which is weird because he's just, he's not played that many minutes. But he comes on, and actually it's a triumph for Jurgen Klopp, who knew that they had the ball and knew he could throw those bodies forward. But, of course, you've got to choose the right bodies. And I thought he did that superbly. It brought on Origi for Keita on the 60th minute. Brought on Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz's little touch, by the way. That was pretty nice, wasn't it? On for Mane. Brave decisions, I guess, and went to a 4-2-4, and immediately, within 2 minutes, he provided the backboard for Salah to make his way past Mykolenko. Very difficult for someone like Mykolenko, any fullback. When you see a pass played, you sort of turn around and then get on with the rest of it, and often it's too late. And that's a real tactic that Salah and Liverpool can have in their arsenal when they are playing against teams with that low block, that ability just to set it and carry on your run, because the defender's obviously got to turn round. Great little layoff back from Origi, and he was just able to provide that backboard for him. And I think that was his first touch. Salah provides the cross, and Andy Robertson, who was brilliant at both ends, to be honest. And do you know what I would say? Often I say, oh, go back and watch this, go back and watch that. Go back and watch Robertson's celebration. His mouth is open for a very, very long time. It is in slow-mo, but as he celebrates his first goal at the Kop end, that kind of celebration says everything you need to know about the sort of fire that burns within Andy Robertson. He is world class as a player. I was talking to someone about Trent and the discussion that often happens about him going forward and going backwards and all those things. Robertson, you never are concerned with defensively, yet offers a lot of offensive output. And I'm not trying to make it about Trent at all. What I'm trying to suggest is that Robertson is less of a darling, isn't he? Because he's a Scottish guy. He's very unassuming, but he is wonderful. He is just outrageously good. And people go 6 out of 10 every game. This guy's 7.5 out of 10 every game, minimum. And he's there at the back post scoring that goal. And that's it. It's about overloading. If you're playing 4-2-4 and then you've got your fullback getting forward like that as well, sooner or later you're going to get those opportunities. It showed positivity from Klopp right at the start of the game, which I thought was really, at 60 minutes, which I thought was really impressive. And just Origi just does what he does. And then, of course, the second goal, Origi in the right spot at the right time. It's just, honestly, there's not too much you can say about Origi because truly, we're not. Is he a victim of the system that Liverpool play, and so you can't kind of fit him in? It's going to slow down the rest of the team, or is he just not good enough? I'm intrigued, but ultimately, I think his attitude actually has allowed him to become this legend because he comes on, he seems to have a smile on his face, plays with an energy and a confidence, and scores goals. So, huge again. And another, when you win titles, there are different moments where you need different characters to play their part. And Origi, again, it's just a lovely, another option where, a lot of players, a lot of teams, they go, okay, we've got this guy, and then if he's injured, we've got that guy. But to have this guy, that guy, and then a few more guys, and then Origi on top, and know that Origi can come on and make that difference and have that magic, is again just why this Liverpool squad is just an utter joy. An utter joy. And they continue to march on after what was a very difficult first half for them. Let's talk about that first half. Let's talk about Everton. Richarlison, it's funny, I was kind of watching the game. I hadn't seen that when he went down and then Doucouré kicked Fabinho and it all kicked off. I was thinking, that guy's a troll. I was thinking, get up, like Carragher said. And it's essential. And when I see later on that his ankle is hurt, I have a certain amount of sympathy for him. The bottom line is, he's cried wolf a lot, and I think, and I might have got this wrong. Maybe I was looking at my boy and then trying to watch the game at the same time. But did he go down after heading a ball away from a corner? If I'm right in that, and I think I am, he headed the ball away from a corner and went down. Now, if I'm right about that, I'm gonna struggle to take you seriously when you go down. And so it's a point of, him and his theatrics a lot of the time, which is odd because he does kind of work hard for the team and does often end up getting up and getting on with it as well. Happy to put in a naughty challenge in as well. But he also does sort of cry wolf a lot of the times by going down. And so that's why what happened. I think that's why Jamie Carragher reacted the way that he did. I think in hindsight, Carragher would regret saying what he was saying in terms of get up, get up, get up. I also don't blame Doucouré for doing what he did. It's almost like a free hit to a point. The deeper concern would have been if someone had got sent off, Doucouré for that. And actually, if we think about the game later on, and I'm sure Liverpool fans are already writing this down in the comments whilst we've been talking about Richarlison. I mean, if this is the point, right? The problem with football is that it's all semantics these days. It's not like what's worthy, what's enough for a red card, because there are a lot of red cards and a lot of penalties that could be given in this game. So we talk about the melee after the Richarlison situation. If we're going back to VAR and all those things, Mane needs to be sent off. I think I can't remember the other player now. I've gone blank. But Mane needs to be sent off. He's put his finger, it is a little eye gouge thing. I think someone else pushes someone else in the face. If we're going down that road where hand touches face, that's the end of it. I think it's Alan gets hit in the face, doesn't he? If Alan goes down holding his face, it might go to VAR, and these things will then end up with teams having players sent off for like silly nonsense that ruins a football game. No, I don't want to see that. So all of it's a lot of silliness. And I also would say if you carry on down that line, what Richarlison does right at the end of the game to Henderson, if you want your screenshots for Twitter, he's got his foot out and pushes out on Henderson. Henderson goes down because, again, players go down, roll around and try and get the opposition players sent off. That's football, that's elite sport. So all of them could have been sent off, just so you know. That's my opinion on all of them. But I think it was better for the game that you sometimes try and go, okay, well, this is a derby game. You need to try and get on with it. I want to talk about Alex Iwobi because I thought he was good, I thought he was really, really good. I haven't looked at the average positions, but let's have a quick look at it. Because I thought there we go. I thought he offered a lot, and actually he's almost playing this sort of like Joe Linton role at the moment, and I think he's stumbled across what he's good at, which is work rate. Work rate, his pressing was good at times, his ability to sort of get involved, 2 key passes as well, so he does have that quality at times. I think when it's against a team that's not as good as Liverpool, where you're probably going to have more of the ball, you're also going to have more players behind the ball, maybe Iwobi hasn't got that real sparkle or spark that will allow you to sort of break down the opposition. But I do love his energy. I think he's been so much better recently, and I think that is the role for him. It's that Joe Linton role to a point where, yeah, you have that attacking threat at times, but also you're looking to try and get stuck in and be there to sort of be a press on your own. I think he did that quite a few times for the team. And in the first half, I thought they were good. If you are going to defend deep, which they certainly did, you have to sort of snap into challenges. You have to make them think about what they're doing. And I think in the first half, they did that. They really did. We've got to talk about penalties as well. Again, it's one of those. Anthony Gordon, similar thing. He kind of gets booked for that one in the first half. There are examples, I've seen it online, where there's other players, Jordan Ayew, I think, for Palace against Leicester City, getting a penalty for a very, very similar thing to the first one. I wouldn't give the first one. Absolutely not. And I'm okay with him being booked. The second one is a penalty. And these are the moments, if you're an Everton fan, you're absolutely devastated with something like that, because you need to hang in there and get a break. It really is as simple as that. When you're struggling like that and you're playing against a team that you know is miles better than you, you've got to be resolute. You've got to be organised, which I think overall they were, and have a game plan. Look, be compact. They certainly were that. And then try and have those moments. And Anthony Gordon provided that. That tip does get across him. Yes, Anthony Gordon will be looking for it. But again, that's kind of the way it is these days. So if it feels like a penalty to me, and that really does change the game massively for them, because it's space versus possession. We talk about it all the time. If you are going to defend this deep and you're going to hang in there, when you do offer something, you need someone with that bit of pace. And when they have that bit of pace, drive into dangerous areas and see if you can hurt them. And again, when it comes to Liverpool, we know that Matip and that left-hand side behind Trent is often the area where they look to exploit. So it worked in that moment. And I thought Anthony Gordon was superb throughout the game. I think his drive and energy is really, really great. He's playing with an element of fear due to his youthful vigour. And overall, when we get on to talking about relegation and the title race, first of all, relegation, there were positives in that. There were, and if you think, and let's have a look at Everton's last few games. For Everton, you're going to have games where you need to go and win the game. And then you're going to have games where you need to get at least a point and then hurt them on the break. And let's have a look at those matches that are left. So Chelsea, an amazing example for that, at home as well. Because I think the energy is there. The energy is back. The organisation is back. They're switched on. I think players are growing somewhat. So the Chelsea game's a great example of that. Leicester City are a team who are very good on the ball, so there's going to be moments like that, especially away from home. Everton, you want to get on the ball that little bit more. Same with Brentford. Same with Palace. And then Arsenal, Everton, it could be that one where you need to give yourself a start. And that's why I come back to those comments from Souness. I'm kind of like, that's not fair, really, because if they play really open Everton, they'll get absolutely cut up and people are going, what's Lampard doing? Why is he playing so open? The game plan was correct, and the game plan can translate to these other difficult games that are coming. It's a difficult one. You've got Calvert-Lewin out. Nathan Patson would be, a good player to have been involved over the last couple of months. Dominic Calvert-Lewin not involved in this game as well. So you've got Richarlison up top. I think he's much better out wide. Another question for the comments. Can Dele Alli maybe play up front? That way you can get him involved. Allow Richarlison to play out wide. Then do you put Anthony Gordon out on the right? Is that something that can be done? Or do you stick with what you've got right now? Because I guess in Richarlison you do have a proper striker, whereas Dele Alli would have to play in a bit of a false nine situation. When it comes to the standings, it's scary. It is scary, and I said this, didn't I, guys? The 3 that I said would go down were these 3. I reiterate, I think there are positives. I don't think Everton fans should be too distraught when you lose, especially to a team like Liverpool, and create a decent amount on the counter-attack at times. But it was always going to be a bit scary. You've got those games in hand, and I've said this a million times now, guys, and no one bloody listened to me. Those Burnley games aren't too bad. A lot of people on the beach. It is going to go right to the wire, as will the title race. The title race is absolutely phenomenal. And do you know what I think is going to happen? I can't see either of them dropping a point. I just can't. They just find... Football's about answers and finding answers. And this Liverpool side is outrageously good. I don't think it's ever been a better time to be a Liverpool fan. Surely. Unbelievable. Answers. Tough games. You've got players with backbone, an incredible spine, talent throughout, quality, depth. Answers. You do very well to stop this team. But you got to kind of do what what Everton did, which is, I think they're getting to that stage. Liverpool, sometimes you try and give them a game a bit more, Liverpool, sometimes. But I think it's getting to the point where they are just that outrageously good that teams are curling up into a ball a bit and trying to be as compact as well as possible. I know that's not always the case. I'm sure Liverpool fans will let me know that. But I think it's going to go down to the wire. And honestly, you got a team like Man City winning 5-1 and over the weekend, and they're still, what is it, plus 63 goal difference to plus 59. Shows how many goals Liverpool scored this season. Absolutely outstanding. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think. Who was your man of the match? I'm going to give it to Robertson. I think he deserves it, especially he's a kind of not underdog. He's a unsung hero. That's the word I'm looking for. Let me know what you're thinking, Everton fans. Do you feel quietly positive despite what happened there? And yeah, let me know what you think about all of the talking points in this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, notification bell as well, please. And I'll see you next time.